Okay. Welcome, everybody, to episode 25 of Lions, Lies, and Billy Goats. I'm Jeff. That's Paul. Um, we don't have much to talk to you about today. I got a couple of things. Um, there's this old battle, the Battle of Cannae, which is a famous historical battle with Hannibal and Rome. Got something about some a new shipping port in Peru, and then a couple of little things. But besides that, how are you, Paul?
I'm good. Jeffrey, before we get started, I wanted to clarify something I said on an episode, I think a couple episodes back, regarding Mr. Beast.
Uh huh.
I, yeah, I kind of recently like jumped back into the Mr. Beast train, and I just want to clarify. I think I said something about like like there was SA going on in his business, whatever you want to call it.
In his
Uh,
entourage.
yeah, I like to backtrack on that statement. Basically, what happened was they hired a guy who was a registered sex offender,
Right.
right? And they knew he was a registered sex offender allegedly, and they hired him anyway. And then also there were like some text messages, or like they were on like a giant text thread, and there was some like inappropriate text thrown around. So I apologize, Mr. Beast. I want to just
Um,
clarify because we obviously we don't want to be
well,
spreading false information here.
well, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but didn't the guy who that was his friend who transitioned get into a legal issue?
I don't know.
And I know there was issues about the legality of his events, and a lot of the stuff ended up being their buddies.
Yeah,
So
that's other stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of shenanigans allegedly that are going on in the events where some of them are allegedly staged, some of them are allegedly rigged to give the friends the prizes. Uh I don't know.
and but I did see today or yesterday because someone was talking about him that he got his own show now, like a show, not YouTube.
I don't know.
Like on Amazon or some shit?
I mean that dude has like 500 million followers or something like absurd.
Well, I
Like
know that the wells he was building wells in Africa, and those were real.
yeah, I think some of what he does is humanitarian work.
Do me a favor, just Google real quick if he has a TV show. I think it's on Amazon for some reason. I feel like I saw the commercial the other night.
He probably does. He's also in a like
He
getting a bit of
he
flack
promotes
for his
TV.
yeah, it says Amazon deal for biggest competition series in TV.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Although
that
that was back in March of this year.
could be interesting if I mean with Amazon backing them, it could be legit. Babe, I want to put the game on, babe.
I don't know. I still won't watch it, so it won't it just doesn't pertain
Well,
to
I
me.
have Prime, so I might as well watch it once or twice.
Sure. Also,
But I
I'd like
really,
to go ahead.
I mean, I really don't even watch TV anymore. Even though like I don't have cable and I stream everything, but even then, I don't watch that much TV anymore. I went through a bunch of the newer Walking Dead's because I watched that series. Did you?
No, I always hear it's good, or at least the first part of it's good.
Yeah, everyone says it's good in the beginning, then it gets like weird or like I didn't start watching it originally till season three, and everyone says season three is when it went downhill. But I like season three, so I went from season three to like season seven or eight before I ever watched one and two. But one
Gotcha.
and two were really good because Punisher, John Barenthal.
Oh, I can't think of his name, but the guy who recently played the Punisher, that
Yeah,
guy. Yeah,
yeah,
I know who he is.
he's awesome. He's really good in it. And speaking of TVs and movies, I got a question for you because you work at a movie theater. I saw these random things that only like, movie theater people, or it might have been Vegas. Let me give me a second here. Speaking of that, have you found any hidden secrets of Vegas because you live out there?
Like places to go.
No, yeah, like hidden Vegas secrets. You know what I mean?
I haven't. To be honest with you, I don't really
There's
I
no
don't really
secret.
explore much.
There's no secret spots. You haven't found like these awesome hidden bars or anything.
I'm sure there are, but I don't really go out. I'm kind of lame nowadays.
Because I saw it was like I watched a uh another gambling video of like people who are ripping off the casino,
Hmm.
but then the algorithm throws you just all types of crap that has to do with gambling in Vegas and like the top 10 casinos, the top 10 worst casinos. Um the top 10 things that people won't that who work in Vegas but won't tell you shit, you know.
Yeah.
Um
What one of the interesting that I or one of the interesting things that I've learned here, right, is you'll see like people that are like slot machine stuff, right? Like pachinko machines, whatever you call them. They're like digital slot machines, right?
mhm.
So you'll see people that are just like standing there watching other people play. And the reasoning for it is that like these people that are standing there just watching other people play the machines, they play these machines all the time. So like people who don't know what they're doing, they'll come up and they'll sit at a slot machine, they'll play for whatever, and then they just get up and leave. These people spy them because they know like how to spot the bonuses and like when
Yeah.
it increases the odds. So like it's kind of funny because I've seen it happen a couple times now that I'm aware of it. Is like you'll see somebody get up and then the person that was just standing there watching them will immediately jump in the chair and sit down and start playing.
Do
Which
you from where you like are most of the time while you're working? Do you have a bar or do you just make drinks for the people?
I actually serve, but yeah, we have a bar in the movie theater, which is inside the casino. But then there's tons of bars in the casino
No,
itself.
but you. So so you have a bar, like hypothetically, if I came to visit you, I could sit down, have a drink, and you could talk to me.
Yeah.
Okay, from that point of view, um, when you look out past like into towards like the entrance, is like the casino right there? Is it like a hallway? Is it like a mall? Or can you like, look at and see slot machines?
So we're actually on the second floor.
So you're
Um
not like on the gaming floor.
yeah, so it's actually like it's almost like an entirely separate entity, the theater from the casino. Like you have to go up either there's like one set of stairs slash escalators and one elevator that goes up to the movie theater. That's the only way to get there. It almost comes off like a fire hazard to me because if something, I'm sure there's emergency exits in the theater that lead outside, but yeah, it's really the only way in. So I actually can't see the casino once I ascend the stairs and go into work.
Gotcha.
But yeah, when I walk downstairs, of course, I'm in the casino, which I
Now,
have to walk through to actually get to work.
do people come to your bar to hang out or do anything, or is it usually just like they're waiting to go to a film or doing whatever?
Yeah, no, some of them do. Like
Because if
some of them will come in on. We have a big screen TV. Like we actually have like this balcony patio thing, right? That's like that's obviously connected to the theater, which the bar connects to. So people will actually like go, and there's a big screen TV. People will actually go outside and like watch football games on Sunday and just hang out. Like it's weird. Like what they're actually trying to drive like bar traffic. So what they do is they'll sell stuff at a discounted rate. For example, you can get like $5 wings or like $5 pizza, but only if you stay in the bar or the patio area. Like you
oh, I got
can't get that deal and then walk into a theater. They won't let you. I mean, I won't stop you, but my manager will.
like I
Um,
remember when we went out there years ago, just for that trip, and I stayed. I think we stayed at Harrah's, right? But across the street from Harrah's is the Excalibur, the big
yep,
pyramid. Okay,
I've
well
been there.
they had a sports book that I really liked. Plus, I hit every single bet I made. But
You were on fire that trip. I remember.
yeah, it's fucking crazy. But so I watched like the top 10 sports books in Vegas because now that I don't drink anymore, like Vegas gambling lost its fun. But I still wouldn't mind placing, I would go and place a couple of bets or whatever if we were out there. But some of them, man, like if you want to go watch Sunday football, it's like $125 just to get into these things. And like you got to get there hours early for some of them. It's fucking crazy.
I forget what casino we were in when Mike and Bernie were out here. Because Bernie was raving about this one sports book. It's like a pool, like you hang out in the pool and they have all this
Oh
stuff.
yeah. But you
It's
got to
not
pay to get
Caesars.
you,
I
you
can't
got to
think of.
pay to get into that.
Yeah, you got to pay to get in. So yeah, I was like, why would we? No, let's just not.
Yeah, I don't want to go to a sports book or to to lay down bets and drink and eat at $125 just to get into the spot. You know what I mean? I'd
Yeah,
rather go back to the Excalibur every single day.
yeah. Well, a
You
lot
know
of the
what I mean?
casinos have free sports books, so there's obviously no reason to
Yeah, but
pay.
it's like a party. You're paying. It's like that pool party shit that they used to have.
Yeah,
Rehab. You ever watch that show Rehab?
no.
It used to be on like True TV
I was gonna say it sounds like
or
something on MTV or something like that.
the bar was called Rehab, and it was one of those busy pool parties that the like with table service and famous people would go and cabanas and like $1,000 to rent the cabana for like 2 hours and shit like
Hmm.
that. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it was some famous club. It's closed down now, obviously.
The one
What's
we
the
went to wasn't quite that expensive. I think it was like $40 to get in. I guess that's fine if you're going to be hanging out like the entire day. Like you're going to get
with
your
free
money's
food?
worth. What's that?
With free food? Like a
I, I,
buffet?
I, I highly doubt it.
Fuck
Free
that.
food in Vegas? Where are you at? Yeah, no, I don't think so. But anyway, I think he just wanted to show it to us.
Uh,
But like I said, we couldn't. We literally were going to walk in. Oh, this is cool, and let's leave. But we couldn't get in. They wanted $40 from each of us, and we're all like,
was it the
no.
win?
What?
Was it the win?
I don't remember what casino we were at. I was drinking a little bit, so I don't really I don't recall. I just know it was one that Bernie wanted us to see because he had been there before. But yeah, it was also like late in the evening too. I think it was like probably like 8, something like that, 8 o'clock. So anyway, I like the sports book idea. I think it's really neat. I don't think it's neat that you have to pay to get into some of them, but like if you just want to grab a drink and you want to watch a couple games and the fight or whatever all at the same time, you have it. So it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, at the Excalibur, like I was laying, I don't know, probably 50 to $100 per bet, right? But you lay the bet and she gives you the ticket and like 4 beer coupons.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
okay, not only am I gonna lay the bet, I'm gonna stay around for a little while longer, you know. So me and like G and maybe Jimbo, because I was with them a lot. Um, we camped out in there. Only we drink our drinks and then we go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I didn't really gamble in there on the tables at all.
Well, you kind of know how this game works anyway. You can get free stuff. You can get free drinks. You can get free room. You can get free food. It just depends on how much money you spend,
Oh
probably
yeah,
specifically how much money you lose, you
but it
know.
was nice because I didn't expect to lay the bet and get you know coupons or tickets for beers.
Yeah. A lot of
I
the
ex-
places do that. I think it
I
just
expected
depends.
to lay my bet and then that'd be the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really engage, but I do know, obviously, from engaging in the past, and I'm sure you know this as well. But yeah, if you're sitting at a blackjack table, yeah, they'll bring you drinks. You really just need to tip your server, you know.
Oh yeah, but sometimes that's slow and shit depending on the night.
Sure, you know. But
All
yeah,
right,
as long as you're spending money, you can get free stuff for many of these casinos.
all right. Well, speaking of drinking and gambling, pull up the airplane video.
Oh yeah, good segue.
This guy is the ultimate say I won't champion in the world.
Right?
So this dude, you can Google this. It's a true story. He uh he made a bet in a bar in New York, and they said I say you won't land a plane in the street
I triple dog dare you!
or whatever the bet was. So the guy leaves, goes over to Teterboro, which is in Jersey, right across the
I
bridge,
know exactly where it is.
and then he steals a plane and he lands it outside his bar. Right? He gets in a little bit of trouble, but it's not really that big of a deal again because it's 56 and people aren't crazy. And then the funny thing is is that a couple of years later at another bar, people didn't believe him, so he did it again.
Well, he's got the photo evidence to prove it. I don't know who took the picture,
Yeah, it
but
was funny. They were like, yeah, we don't believe you. You didn't do that." He's like, "Oh yeah, say I won't do it again."
yeah, it's pretty crazy. Can only
Yeah.
imagine what happened if you tried to do that today.
All right, what else do we have up there to talk about today?
Well, I just had a couple random questions for you because a couple things happened before we jump into some of your the content you want to talk about.
All right, let's get into it.
So, the first off, obviously Hunter Biden gets pardoned. Uh,
Um,
thoughts on that?
yeah, it's ridiculous, but I mean, look at it a couple of ways. Like, if I was Biden, I'd fucking pardon my kid too. But at the same time, as like an American and trying not to have a dirty, corrupt system, it's pretty fucking corrupt. And what I do know is it wasn't like he got a pardon for the gun and the taxes or smoking crack or banging hookers. He got a blanket pardon for from like 2014 up until uh like technically when Biden signed or executed the pardon, it has like it had like an extra 2 days on it. So technically, um, Hunter could have like done any crime for 13 hours before the thing like ended. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I was going to actually ask you. So if you're pardoned, right? Is that your pardon for all the crimes that you've been charged with, or does that mean that you're pardoned for everything?
No, it's usually it's in particular cases like every like lots of presidents do pardons at the end of the time to let some of their buddies out or they do whatever. Um, so usually it's like if you're in jail for I don't know tax evasion, right? And the president's like, let this dude out, he's pardoned. It's like you never committed the crime at all. They'll erase your record. But if you were murdering people at the same time, they didn't know about it. You can't be like, ha ha, I'm a killer, and now you can't do anything because I'm pardoned.
Okay, so it's just the crimes that you've actually been charged with, or that have been brought against you.
Correct. Most of the time is how it usually
So if it
works.
turns out Hunter Biden did kill somebody, again, I'm just hypothetically speaking, in 2019, he's not pardoned for that.
I don't know, but I know that it's enough that he can't get in trouble for all that Burisma shit in Ukraine and all the 10% to the big guy and stuff. So taking him out removes the connection to Joe. So
Okay,
the Biden crime family just got away with fucking all that crazy shit they did in Ukraine.
got it. I mean, I don't have an issue per se with him pardoning his kid. I try to put myself in Biden's shoes. Would I do the same thing? And whether I was involved in it or not, yeah, I probably would. Obviously, if Joe was actually involved in some of Hunter's escapades, yeah, that would give him a lot more reason to pardon his kid.
It's like it's not like, oh, he's my son and he smokes crack and bangs hookers, which I don't give a fuck about anyway. But it's not like the kid is getting off with some harmless vices. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like this is international conspiracy, money laundering, interfering with elections in foreign countries and shit.
yeah. Again, I mean, I can understand it from Joe's perspective. The only issue that I have is the hypocrisy of it. I mean, Joe's whole thing is no one is above the law. No one is above the law. Well, apparently Hunter's above the law.
Well, and the other part of that is, I mean, it doesn't matter because politicians lie all the time. But
Yeah.
Joe specifically said, I will not pardon my son. He needs to learn the hard way or whatever, whatever. And
Yeah.
again, I don't care if he was partying his son for partying. You know what I mean? For
But
being a
don't
drug
say that.
and sleeping with his sister-in-law and whatever all the other crazy stuff he did, having bastardized kids and that his family doesn't want to talk to. Yet Biden, it's like John Gotti giving his kid a pass. You know?
Yeah. Again, I get it. But like again, if you go back to Joe, like saying these things, nobody's above the law, oh, I'm not going to pardon Hunter, things like that. Like, you didn't know then that you were very likely going to pardon him.
No, he knew
So then why say that?
because he's a politician. Because you don't.
Because he's a
He was
fucking
running for.
liar.
He was running for
That's
re-election.
yeah, but that just now you said that in public, right? Like that's going to come back now. People are going to
It
say,
doesn't
"Hey,
matter.
you
It doesn't
lied."
matter. He's lame duck, and he's not running anymore. He's gone.
I guess. Yeah, you're
He.
right.
That's why it's called lame duck. Because these guys know that anything they do right now can't. It won't go on them because they're out, and it's going to be the next dude's problem.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't understand what the fuck they're doing over there in Ukraine or Gaza or Syria, for that matter.
Yeah, it sounds to me like they're trying to start World War III, which brings me to my next question for you. Um,
Wait, hold on.
Tucker,
Before you go there,
go ahead.
imagine this is 2020, right? And Trump lost. And instead of walking out or doing January 6th or whatever they did, he's just like, oh, I'm going to give $1 million to them. I'm going to give $1 billion to you. I'm going to do all this stuff. I'm going to go kick off a couple of wars. The people would be flipping the fuck out right now.
Yeah.
But it's crickets. It's always crickets when the fucking Democrats do bullshit like this.
Well, I'm upset about it, regardless of which party or politician is doing this. This is awful. Again, it looks to me like they're trying to start World War III before they leave. Well, we could
Yeah.
argue that World War III's already started.
And we were talking last time
with
about
the
how
Russians.
Biden, or not Biden, how Putin responded with that missile attack, and how I said that it was a good response, politically and militarily or whatever. And he's like, it's going to be worse next time. We fired more missiles into Russia after that.
Yeah. Well,
You know what I mean?
Tucker is in Moscow, and I'm sure you saw this. I think we spoke
I
about
just
it.
saw like the trailer, like 30-second trailer.
Yeah,
that
I
he
just
had.
saw the clip of him saying it. But yeah, he said U.S. soldiers killed Russian soldiers on Russian soil.
Well,
That's a hot war, isn't it?
Here's the thing about that, right? It's not. I don't. I mean, it would probably be silly not to think that there's not special forces on the ground in Ukraine. But hypothetically, what he means by that is that these weapon systems, the Ukrainian soldiers don't know how to use this shit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
So we're
So
firing them.
yeah, so we send over the missiles, but again, we send a team of dudes who know how to use the radar or what buttons to press or how to run and operate the machine.
Hmm.
So technically, those are U.S. soldiers or NATO soldiers, whatever you want it to be.
Well, this is all disturbing to me. Regardless of whatever it is, whether it's missiles or actual troops on the ground. Hey. Anyway, unless you got something else on that, I got a couple more questions for you. Just wanted to get your take.
No. Anything about what's going on in Germany?
Nothing about Germany. Not for me. What's going on in Germany?
I think they're talking about leaving the EU.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, I agree. I mean, the EU and NATO, it's just like the two like world banks are the International Monetary System and the World Bank, right? But they're basically central banks and shit. That lend money to the EU because they're trying to, one world
Who
government.
funds those banks? Do you know? Or
Us,
who runs the banks rather? Who owns them?
well, I do not know. I mean, but it's like it's controlled by the UN somehow. Like one of them loans money and one of them gives money. There's a difference technically.
Okay.
But that's not really I'm not too familiar. I mean, I went over it in school, but it
I
wasn't
didn't
that.
know if you went down the rabbit hole and you had more
Mm.
information on it.
No. Did you watch the Mike Benz thing I told you to watch?
No, I haven't had time.
Dude, it's not just that it's interesting, but my man has the receipts. he's like, "Oh yeah, look at this. This is where this dude said this, and this dude said this, and here's all these documents, and he's got everything to back up what he's saying." And he's like, "You know what DARPA is?"
Yeah.
Okay. Well, after DARPA
DARPA's
works,
for the audience is weather manipulation, right?
no, DARPA is our government's version of creating new technology and military shit. Like DARPA kind of is responsible for the internet in a way.
Okay.
So, but it's like the military
So it's
DARPA.
like Silicon Valley, but for the U.S. military, essentially. You got all the tech
Yeah, like
nerds and stuff in there.
you know those the robots that do the backflips and shit, and the
Yeah.
dogs, those robot dogs. All that started with DARPA years and years ago. But what happens is because the Americans can't make money, the country itself can't run a business. Is that after DARPA gets to a certain point, it hands it off to either military contractors or we have a civilian version. Like if the say when they invented microwaves, like, oh, microwaves can be good for people too. So it becomes, not only is a new technology necessarily a military asset, it can also have um commercial regular uses.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which like the internet. But the name of the organization is like the United Science Foundation or something. And all this shit is just funded by us. And like John McCain used to be, it's like this CIA branch of commercial government. And
Okay.
all these and like the Republicans have one, and the Democrats and the Republicans each have a branch that the CIA has established for them. So again, Mike Benz, he was on Rogan. He is a cyber. I don't know if he's a cyber whiz, but in he was like a high ranking person in the United States cyber division at the State Department.
So he knows shit.
He knows the shit, and so his big thing is the censorship and how they do it. And he talks about all the programs that they use to try to do it, or that they are using or try to use or are making in the future. It's crazy, dude. It's like honestly, the 3 hours went by like that, and he could have gone on longer. And he's like every time he got sidetracked, and he's like, I can show you that receipt too, but that's not a big deal. Joe's like, no, I want to see that too. I want to see that too.
Oh, so they kept going down the
Yeah,
rabbit
half the
holes.
time he was like, Jamie, go on my website and Google and look for this. And he's like, and it comes right up, and all this stuff comes right up, and it's fucking crazy. Joe is just like, holy shit.
Yeah, I heard some of the reactions to it. Obviously, I haven't watched it yet, and I saw some of the clips myself of some of the stuff that he was saying.
You know,
And some of it I've heard before. Not
I've been following Ben's for a while. I forget what put me onto it, but uh he was on somebody's podcast that I watched, and I just simply followed him on X, and and then I follow him on whenever he does interviews and stuff. I follow him on YouTube. But
Yeah,
all
I
right,
follow him on X too. A lot of his stuff is not a lot, but some of his stuff's hid behind a paywall, for like
oh
subscribers.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But yeah, no, I follow him too.
That's why I listen to him talk on interviews, because they talk about everything. Um, I don't pay for anybody's
No, me neither.
subscription or
I don't have
any of
any
that.
money to pay for other people's information.
Yeah, internet's
Plus, if it's
free.
really important, why am I paying for it? Why are you not sharing it with
Yeah, and if not,
everybody?
it'll come out in a couple. Eventually you'll make it free.
Yeah, I think what Ben's does, and probably a lot of these other people that do this paywall thing, they just give you the information early. They're going to drop it next week. You can just pay money and get the information now if you want, if you subscribe.
Yeah, but then they give you. I mean, depending. Some of them have like separate shows. Some of them have like viewer call-ins and shit.
Yeah.
Um, the only time I even did something close to that is like one of my top 3 favorite podcasts is called Words and Numbers. and it's half an hour once a week, maybe 45 minutes once a week on Wednesdays, and it's Anthony Davies, who's an economist, and James Harrington, who's like a poli sci, but they're both professors and shit. You know, I've been in the
Right.
business forever, and they don't necessarily talk about politics, but they talk a lot about each one will bring like a topic, and they'll kind of usually they get into like the unintended consequences of feel good legislation, and they analyze just strictly through numbers and comparisons and examples. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they might say this, but the numbers tell you this, and the numbers tell you this, and the numbers
Right.
show you this. You know what I
It
mean?
sounds good on paper, but here's why it's bad. Et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, here's what you weren't thinking about.
Right.
Anyway,
So so we talked about Hunter Pardon. The healthcare guy. We were talking about a little bit earlier. I don't really know much about this. I'm sure you saw the video of the dude getting gunned down in the street, right?
yeah, I mean, the dude, it seems like I saw a picture before of the guy's face. They caught him
I
at
saw that. Yeah.
like a 7-Eleven or some shit. And that right there makes me think that he's not a professional, which I thought in the beginning. Because when you see the first picture I saw was the still of the guy standing there, in the stance. I saw the silencer on the thing, and he's got the hood up and all black. I'm like, that looks like a hit, like a professional hit. 6:45 in the morning, he knew the guy was going to be bang bang, and he's out.
Mm-hmm.
But any professional would never would have got caught on camera. You know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't have made that mistake.
Yeah, you saw the video, right?
Buying a cup of coffee.
Well, there's not just the still shot, but there's a whole video on the internet of him actually in motion doing it.
That's whatever.
I don't remember if there was audio or not, but
then I heard there's some of the shell casings had words written on them or something.
Yeah, something like deny. A couple words that started with a D.
Well, the thing about
it was in reference to some kind of financial book I saw, like some kind of economics book.
I didn't see him. I didn't really get into it.
I'll try to find it later, and I'll put it in here, whatever the name of the book was.
I mean, with something like this, I always wait a little bit to see where the information comes out before I even dig into it that much. But some of the stuff you can't avoid. Like, I did see the chart, or his particular healthcare company has more denials on claims, and like by far more than any other insurance carrier. So I mean, it could be vengeance. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't fucking cover my wife's bills, and now we're broke and everybody died, so I'm gonna whack you out.
It could be anything at this point. Obviously, we don't. It just happened. We don't have what happened yesterday. We don't really have the the information yet. But I just thought it was pretty wild, and obviously, I figured you saw it because it was all over Twitter.
Well, it's a big deal because it's healthcare. Everyone's like, "Oh, yeah, because our American insurance companies suck, and it's all because of this." And honestly, we spend more on healthcare by far than any other country in the world. And all the other places have socialized healthcare, whatever you want to call it, right? And ours is strictly expensive because of legislation and loopholes put in by legislation that was basically written by the insurance companies and passed by Congress. Congress doesn't write these fucking bills. You know what I mean? They don't do that shit.
No, the lawyers do.
The lobbyists can afford to have a group of lawyers write up a bill. The majority of bills like that are not written by U.S. employees. They're written by the people trying to get the fucking laws passed.
Yeah, that makes sense. I watched a bunch of stuff on like our health insurance, our whole health, the whole health practice that we have over here. It's ridiculous. Just what they have to go through, what some of the insurance companies are charging, $500 for a syringe, like ridiculous stuff. I just made that part up, by the way.
Yeah, I know, but $8 for an Advil, you know what I mean?
Whatever it is, yeah, it's just absurd,
Like, if I didn't have insurance, my surgery was like close to $500,000. It was like $453,000.
I mean, who can afford that? Like, reasonably, like that's crazy.
But again, the price wouldn't be that high if there was more free market things going on in our healthcare.
Yeah. Again, I
'Cause
don't know enough about it. I just
I
know
don't
that
know
our
how to
healthcare
do
system
that
sucks.
more than anything else. That if the government is involved, it's going to work bad, and the price is going to be high.
Mm.
And there's a million examples throughout history. All right, what else you got for me?
Yeah, just one more question, and then we can get started on your stuff. So, obviously, UFO sightings have been up all over the world.
Oh, back at home,
Yeah, just in the last 6 months, a year alone. But yeah, Jersey the other day, numerous sightings of those whatever they were.
multiple days in a row.
Yeah,
Not just the one time. It's like, oh, 5:30's here, time to have the drones come out, and there's some pictures of the drones.
yeah, and not only just like flying over like people's homes, but apparently they're flying over military bases, and apparently
Well,
over FBI informants' houses.
And it gets even worse. Some of the FBI agents that have been assigned to look into this have reported drones flying over their homes as if to say, hey, we know where you are.
today I saw Congressman Tom Kaine, because I follow his page, because I'm all pissed at him for lying to my face. He put out a report that's like, if you have any information, call. The FBI is looking. And I'm like, bullshit, dude. There's no way that we don't know who's flying these fucking
Of course
things
they know.
5 days in a row in Morris County, New Jersey.
Of course.
Okay. And the military base that's close is Picatinny. But Picatinny does like munitions. It doesn't develop tanks or
Yeah.
spy planes. It tests bombs and bullets and shit.
Isn't Lockheed over by Picatinny, if I recall correctly? Isn't
I
there
don't
a
think.
Lockheed?
Is there a Lockheed in New Jersey?
I think so.
I know we have like Maersk, like with the big pharmaceutical companies are in New Jersey, but that's more like Hunterdon County and Somerset County.
I could swear there's one close by, like in
And there
Wharton
used
or
to
something.
be the Hercules was in Roxbury. It used to like make bombs.
Yeah,
And
Lockheed
then when we were
Martin is
looking,
in Morristown, New Jersey. I don't know where that is.
Morristown.
No, it says Moorestown.
Oh, Morristown, South Jersey.
Yeah. I don't know why I thought there was one over like by Picatinny. Maybe I'm just
When,
misremembering.
when when we were little, you weren't. I don't think you hadn't moved to Flanders yet, but Hercules blew up
Oh,
back
that's
in
right.
the
I remember hearing about that.
and every people's like houses shook.
That's right. Oh, there's also a Lockheed Martin in Cherry Hill.
Again, South Jersey.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
Philly.
Yeah, but when you're I don't know how fast these drones move. I guess the point is that like if they're
No,
anyway,
they're
I'm gonna stop.
yeah. I don't
I'm
like.
gonna stop. I'm just speculating because
They're
I'm just trying
not.
to figure out where these are coming from and what they are. And obviously, it's not like a bunch
And
of rich dudes with some fancy ass drones. Because if they were hovering over military bases, they would have been shot down.
Listen. They're not hovering over Picatinny. They're flying around wherever, which makes it more like a test. Oh, but they're not like. If you have a drone that's weighs more than 249 grams, you need a license.
Mm.
And you have to like start reporting shit. Like and these are big ass drones. These things like blip on radar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're like the size of cars. I
way,
heard.
there's no way that we don't know what they are. And I saw that the like Florham Park Fire Department or Police Department had a statement. It's like, we don't know what these are, but we have the reports and we're looking into it. Any information, please call yada yada yada. So I'm like, it's possible that Florham Park Popo doesn't know. It's possible that Morris County Sheriff's Popo don't know. But do you think the FBI don't fucking know where these things are coming from, man? You know what I mean? And it's not like it's been multiple days.
I agree with that
If you
statement.
can
Yeah.
hear Osama bin Laden fart in a cave in Afghanistan, there's no way there's all these drones are flying around Morris County.
They definitely somebody knows. I think it goes higher up on the chain. Do the local police
Could be like
departments
some
know? No.
stupid movie
Does the
shit.
state police know? No. But
I mean, they were filming Happy Gilmore. They were filming, Happy Gilmore 2 in Morristown.
so it's not even just we're just talking about Jersey specifically, but I watched a whole news clip last night with this guy in Britain because one of the Air Force bases or one of the military bases, it's a U.S. military base, by the way, in Britain somewhere. Um, starts with a G. I can't think of the name of the town off the.
Oh, I don't know.
I can't think of the name of the town or the city off the top of my head. It starts with Gloucester,
Gloucestershire.
Gloucester. Yeah, that's where the base is. And again, these drones were allegedly flying over this base. So, and it, I mean, I don't know. I just was curious to get your thoughts on it, see if what you thought it might be.
I just don't. I think that we know a lot more than they're letting the citizens know. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, again, for something to
And
just
again,
even if it's not hovering, even if it's just flying over military airspace, it's getting shot down. Like there's no
yeah,
way.
and there's a lot of, at least if it's not getting shot down, which is fine because they're just drones. I mean, but like the fact that it's happened multiple nights in a row and they're claiming that they don't know.
Mm,
So if it was bad enough to shoot down, they would have shot it down on night two. You know what I
true.
mean? So it's something.
Well, Tim Burchett, if you're listening, please let us know what is going on as soon as you find out.
Well, he's got more important things to do than drones in Morris County. Please stick to calling out Congress for being blackmailed by
He can do both.
whoever.
He's a worker. That guy. He can do both. Anyway, all right. So yeah, you want to go into maybe some of your videos? I don't know
Um,
about drones, but how about
do you have the
what is this? Roman
fireworks?
candles and cars?
Yeah. So there is uh, civil unrest, I guess, in the country of Georgia, which is a Balkan country south of Russia. The border is like Azerbaijan. It's a Balkan country because it's in the Balkan.
Mm-hmm.
No, excuse me, Caucasus. It's the Caucasus Mountains. Balkans are up north.
Okay.
So, but they're clashing with police, and they don't have guns and shit over there, but they got a lot of fireworks. So check out this dude with the Roman candles.
All right. Let's check it.
I'm impressed. Hey, bro. You want to jump over there?
Wow. Can we hire that guy for the next
That's
4th of
crazy, right?
July?
Yeah, I'm not. I forget what's going on in Georgia. I haven't looked into it yet.
You know, I actually did see like a shorter clip of that like earlier today. I was only like maybe 10 seconds. I didn't know what I was looking at. That's wild. So he's shooting that at the cops, I believe, or at the
Yeah,
military?
at the guys armored up at the other end of the street.
Wow. Well, I hope nobody was injured, but it's pretty fucking creative to
Have you looked into the South Korea?
Oh, the
Anything?
coup?
Yeah, was
I
that what it
haven't heard
was?
anything about it since we spoke about it the other day.
All I saw was the president did the martial law, and then their version of Congress, like their legislative branch, was like, "Nah, fuck that," and they got blocked out of Parliament. And then you see the video that's outside the gate of the people running up the stairs. The citizens were helping politicians over the fence so they could go vote and shut down the martial law.
Wow.
And then something about removing the president. That's all I know. So I'm guessing maybe the president was about to get caught in like a scandal. And he was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, yeah. What's his name? Like Soo Young Kim or something like that?
I don't
Something like that.
remember, but he's blamed it. I guess the reference was like something happened in North Korea and we're responding, but that seems to be not true.
Yeah, lie. Imagine that. Uh Yeah, so we have another one too. This got a tank in it. Bulldozer?
Oh, okay. Hold on. So this is Mali. I'm sorry, Haiti.
Haiti.
So in a couple of episodes ago, do you remember me talking about the guy named Barbecue?
Yeah, I'm familiar with
Okay.
him.
So this is the government fighting back at Barbecue's house. So they built their own killdozer. Hit play. So they're fighting back at they're going. This is Barbecue's house.
Ah, very good. You're right. Careful, up kwa ghorofa, anything. Unaona? Hii jamaa kwa building gani bwana? Hii building inapanda hii juu. Hii imeandikwa Colombia ni. Sasa anatupiga chini. Hii imeandikwa Colombia. Nauliza, hii imeandikwa Colombia. Oi, Colombian.
So Barbecue is still one of the most powerful gang leaders on there. The government is trying to undermine the gang problem, obviously. And they brought in the UN, which is basically US funded Kenyan soldiers. And they got put in a few months ago. I just saw the other day that they just got another shitload of money to keep them there.
So what is exactly going on? The U.S. is trying to overthrow the government. They're trying to work with the government
We tried to overthrow the government of Haiti like fucking 10 times.
That I'm familiar with. But for this particular instance, is the United States working with the current Haitian government or against it?
They're working with the government
to try to overthrow the warlords and
well, yeah, they're trying to
the resistance.
But it's to keep U.S. hands out of it. It's going through the UN, but it's the U.S. It's all U.S. funding. It's all U.S. decisions on who to bring in and all that. But Kenya, it used to be Bangladesh. Used to have a lot of soldiers, the UN troops, because it pays. And if you live in Bangladesh, you ain't getting paid for nothing. So like people were willing or like wanting to join the service to get out. All right, what else do I have for you? You want to bring up the?
We got. Well, you were talking about censorship earlier, and I think we talked about last episode about Australia. Because Australia just
they
really
they passed
censorship.
You gotta be the 16-year-old bill.
Yeah, so we just got a quick funny clip. I haven't seen this one. Ready?
Yeah.
We want prohibition! We want prohibition! We want prohibition!
Won't somebody please think of the children?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Oh, yeah. Doors open, boys.
Yikes.
There you go.
I think that's why you were talking about it last time because social media, right? Didn't they ban kids like under whatever
16.
age? 16 from using it? That's right.
All right, bring up the Peru. The shipping.
Oh, the shipping thing?
Yeah, so what's big about this is well, a couple of things now. There's been a plan. You go through a bunch of them. You just float through them. See, there's different size ships, right? So the biggest of the biggest ships can carry like 24,000 of those.
Yeah, look at that thing.
And ships of 18,000 and lower or something like that can use the Suez Canal, right? But anything bigger than that can't. And I think one of the pictures is a map of the shipping channels.
Yeah, we have more. I'm just gonna go back to these one more time.
So the big ones, there's only a handful of these ships, right? And but their route ends up going around Africa, and there's no look. There's the size of the ship. Go back one.
Oh, here. I'm sorry. What did you want?
Go back 2 of them to the ship comparison. So the 2 big ones at the bottom can't fit through either canal, the Panama or Suez.
Okay, you can see just the size comparison, how big they
Dude,
are.
they carry 24,000 containers.
It's crazy.
And go to the map 2 over.
It's wild.
That's the port.
Oh, this is the port in Peru?
That's the port. And it's the only port in South America, and I'm pretty sure the West Coast,
That takes
that
these container ships.
it's the only port that can take the biggest ships of that size. I don't even think that that Long Beach or where's the other port in America over there? Where's the big one? Long Beach port in Oakland? Yeah, Long Beach and Oakland are the big shipping networks over there. So what this can do is now you can bring 24,000 cargo containers worth of shit to Peru, and Peru can help expand it out. This is going eventually it's going to increase trade and give Peru a little power, give the Chinese a little bit more power. You know what I mean?
Right.
See if anything else about that.
You know what's fascinating to me about this map is the Northern Sea route, like just going all the way up around Russia.
Well, that with the ice caps melting, that channel is actually opening up, and the countries are jockeying for position up there because the north side of Alaska is about to become beachfront territory. You know what I mean? They're gonna put in ports and shit up there.
Interesting. I think it's Barrow that's at the top of Alaska. You ever go ahead. I don't want to change the topic.
Yeah, no, I don't remember. I just know I remember I read an article a while ago that the sea, because that sea lane is so much faster going around the top,
Mm-hmm.
and it will also give Russia an advantage because Russia, not counting their naval base in Syria, which is the only reason they care about Syria, the Russians don't have a deep water port 300 all year round. You know what I mean? Because of the ice, and if they need a port to dry dock and do whatever with the giant ships, because you can't put them all in the Black Sea because you have to go through Turkey to get out. Constantinople.
Yeah, right here.
And there's laws on that.
Well, that's why they wanted Crimea so bad, right? Isn't this Crimea right here, this little peninsula?
Yeah, well, Sevastopol is the name of their naval base in there. And again, that's the Black Sea is important. A lot of shipping goes on the Black Sea. So Sevastopol, they have their own Black Sea fleet, the Russians. But in Syria is where their all year round warm water, deep water Navy port is. And without that, they can't have aircraft carriers out all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Syria's over here. Anybody who's watching may not know.
And shit. And their other bases are in the Baltic, which is up top there.
Yeah.
Like under Norway and Sweden, into there.
Oh, yeah. Here, I'm sorry.
You know, like there's submarine bases in there. But I mean, it's not hard to manage that transition. The canal, not the canal, the space between like Sweden and Finland and Northern Europe is only a couple kilometers. You know what I mean? Like you can't, if you're sailing your ship out, you're almost in other people's water all of the time. So they can shut that strip down real quick and screw the Russians. And they have another little base in there called it's like the most militarized zone. It's called Kaliningrad. You know where that is?
No.
If you look at a map, and on the Baltic Sea is like Estonia, Lithuania, and like Latvia, those 3 countries right there.
Yeah.
there's a little bitty strip of land called Kaliningrad, and it's a Russian enclave, but it has water access, so it's not like completely surrounded by the enemy.
Mhm.
But it's a separate piece of Russia with three countries in between it. And there used to be a train or some kind of pathway that went through, but since the invasion of Ukraine, Lithuania shut that down on them. So they can still reinforce the piece of land through the water because it has a small port, not a big one. But because of its location, it's just like there's nuclear weapons in there, and a bunch of troops and forces and whatnot.
Interesting.
So what the big thing is that port being put into Peru. It's worse for our trade overall because it gives the Chinese more access to the southern ports or the southern half of the Western Hemisphere. And then the other thing is they're going to build a new canal through Nicaragua and not get rid of, but almost in direct competition to the Panama Canal.
Interesting.
And the canal through Nicaragua is actually an older idea than Panama. Even the Spanish conquistadors were thinking about, and Spain wanted to put a strip through Nicaragua, and it never actually panned out. And then when the French started building the Panama Canal, the Americans almost bought the plans or went into a deal with Nicaragua to build their canal. But since the French had already started it and they were going bankrupt or whatever, we decided to go and finish that one. But I think the one through Nicaragua is going to be bigger and allow larger ships through, which will be a game changer.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. By the way, we were talking about like large ports. It looks like I don't know. This is another clip that you had.
Right, but if a ship leaving East Asia and wants to go to Europe, it's an extra couple of thousand miles to go around Africa.
Oh, absolutely. To go, yeah, that would make no sense.
But those big ass ships can't get through the Suez Canal. Well, not much is going through the Suez Canal anyway right now because of Yemen.
Right.
But hypothetically.
But yeah, you would have no choice if you wanted to ship from, say, China to Europe. You'd have to either go up around the top of Russia, which would take a long time, or the southern coast of Africa,
and again,
which would take a long time.
Going around the top of Russia is only available 3 months out of the year, if at all.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Interesting.
Control the shipping, control the world.
Yeah, well, trade for sure.
Well, it depends. There's two different arguments on that. There's Admiral Mahan, Mahan, he wrote a book called Sea Power back in the day, and his argument is control the oceans, control the shipping, control the world. And then the other argument is if you control Central Europe, because that's the breadbasket of the world. That's the most powerful position, and it's like, what's the point of having a navy if you have all the land? You know what I mean? So,
right.
That's Clausewitz. He's like a famous general.
It's interesting. Well, also too, if you're completely surrounded by land, what do you need a navy for? You know?
Yeah, that's why Poland has been fought over so many times because it's a key strategic location. Geographically, it's a powerful spot.
Yeah. Although Poland does border the North Sea or whatever that is up there. I think it's the North Sea, right?
No, the North Sea's no, they have the Baltic.
Doesn't Poland border the water?
Yeah, but that's the Baltic Sea. The North Sea is to the right of England.
Oh, here, yeah.
That's the North Sea. And then more to the right is the Baltic.
Okay, so yeah, maybe it's the Baltic. But they do have coastline, Poland, right?
Yeah.
It's just that the northern part of the country, if I recall correctly.
Correct. Poland used to be a big deal back in the day. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth was a nice little empire for a minute.
That's interesting. All right, so yeah, Newport's going up. Or Newport is already up in Peru, and yeah, we'll see how this affects the trade market going forward.
Go to the Battle of Cannae.
Oh, you got some old stuff. Oh, that's right, because you did say it was Romans versus the Huns, right?
No, it's the Romans and the it's Carthage.
Oh, the massacre of Carthage.
Sacrifice my best fighters.
The crowd wants battle, so the Emperor gives them battles. You get the Battle of Carthage.
Massacre of Carthage.
So there was a handful of battles. This is during the Second Punic War. The First Punic War had to do with actually Hannibal's father, and he got embarrassed, and Hannibal had like this obsession with going to crush Rome. So Hannibal crosses. He can't get there by boat because the Romans have the navy. So he ends up crossing. This is the famous story of bringing the elephants through the Alps. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So the Romans were, since they were losing a lot to Hannibal, and they knew that Hannibal was on foreign land, they did a lot of avoiding a straight up battle. There was a lot of harassing. There was a lot of destroying the land and trying to have Hannibal follow the Romans around and get tired and get poor and, and then end up giving up. So, but from time to time, they did get caught into battle. So the Battle of Cannae ends up being really famous because it's like, let me tell you the numbers here. I lost it. So August 20 of 216 BC. This is southern Italy. Rome has 80,000 foot soldiers and about 6,000 cavalry. Carthage has about 40,000 foot soldiers and 10,000 cavalry. So they line up in this battlefield, and it's narrower than it looks. So instead of all, go back to the other map for me for a second. One more. Okay. So the river is on our left, but it's on the Roman right. And then there's supposed to be on the right side, there's like a foresty swamp area. So technically the battlefield is still is narrower than it would be if all the soldiers lined up. We're still talking about 2 to 3 kilometers of battlefield.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But because the Romans have so many fucking dudes, they have them stacked back behind each other in their staggered legion position. So the first part, and then Hannibal lines up on the other side. And if you see the middle, that's where his foot soldiers are, and they kind of line up in a bow as opposed to a straight line, and that becomes very key. I'll tell you why. So the battle starts, and you figure they're about a kilometer from each other,
Yeah.
And so the skirmishers from both sides advance. Javelin throwers, guys who use slings, archers and shit like that. So they go up and they meet and they battle it out, right? Then when they're out of, rocks to throw, spears to throw, and whatever, they both go back to their camps or their sides of the battle. This happens in most big wars because the rest of the guys have all the armor on and shit.
Right.
So the Romans send their horses, their cavalry. Hannibal responds. So on the right side of the red, which is Carthage, that is where the cavalry units are kind of even. It's about 4,000 to 4,000 cavalry, right? So they run and they do battle. On the left side is about 10 is he has some I don't know, he's got more. There's more. He lines up 6,000 on that side as opposed to
So you have more cavalry on one side than you do on the
correct.
other.
He doubles up the left-hand side.
Probably due to terrain. Go ahead.
So when they battle, the plan is for Carthage's heavy cavalry on the left is to fight the Roman cavalry on their right and hopefully win and drive them back, which does happen. But they end up fighting like up and kind of back towards where it says Second Roman Camp there.
Here?
Yeah, because they break the line and push it back, but then they like chase them away. So it's almost like the cavalry leaves and then they're pursued by the cavalry.
So the Romans retreat back to the Second Roman camp?
No, the line the line breaks of the cavalry.
Okay.
But in the meantime, the Roman legion has started marching forward.
So this is moving forward.
Correct.
This is going backwards.
Yeah, slowly.
Slowly,
So
yeah.
the Romans line up in a straight line. They walk in a straight line, and they run in. They walk into the wall, and the walls can meet and they fight.
Mm-hmm.
So Hannibal purposely lines up in this reverse bow type of thing. So the guys in the middle meet the Roman soldiers first. And again, this battlefield is like 2 kilometers long, dude. So if you're a Roman soldier and you're in the middle, you look to your left, you look to your right, all you see is Roman soldiers and then the enemy on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So the forces meet, they hit the first level of the bump, and then the other guys have to walk farther to meet their opponents.
Mm-hmm.
And they battle it out for a while, and then slowly but surely, the middle of the Carthaginian line starts to not break but pull back, while the left and the right side don't pull back.
Just the middle.
Yeah, so you end up kind of getting a reverse bow, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And because the Roman leaders are in the back watching the battle, they see that the middle is giving, so they reinforce. So they take the guys from the extra forces from the left and the right, and then bring them down the middle
because they think they're going to puncture right through the middle.
They're trying to puncture through. So at a point, it's kind of like a V. It's turning into a V.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And the Roman, the Carthaginian cavalry that ran the Roman cavalry off has they arrested. I mean, this is a couple of hour long battle. I'm talking about it quickly. Yeah. These guys, it's a 2 kilometer long front, and 120,000 dudes fighting on but the width of a football field.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just fighting, going wild. The Hannibal's forces, the cavalry routes their cavalry, has enough time to recover, and then they come back and they start to attack the Romans from behind.
I figured that's where you were going with this. That's kind of smart.
The Romans kind of give in the middle, but when the cavalry comes back, they rally. But because they actually broke, the Romans really ran through. So now they're kind of like, so the bottom of the V broke, but they kind of put it back together.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many Romans in the middle. These guys have armor on. Like they can't they're so close, they can't pick their arms up because they're getting pushed and pushed and pushed. And a lot of them die in crowd surges because there's, so many men so close together. And, which I thought was crazy is that like these guys, so many died not from battle wounds, but because they were crushed by
they were trampled or smushed. You can't breathe sometimes. You get pushed into close quarters. Yeah.
That happened at a Puffy concert. One of Puffy's first concerts that he threw when he was like not a producer, he was a party thrower.
Mm-hmm.
They packed a nightclub with like was like 1,000 extra people that should have been in there, and something happened that people ran, like gunshots or a fight.
Yeah.
And like 15 people died from crowd surges
Oh, yeah,
because you couldn't
absolutely.
get past the door. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think
So
people
more,
realize how dangerous that is. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
more Romans died from that than they did in the actual fighting.
Wow.
But the battle became famous because he's outmanned 2-1, and then the trick was sucking the forces in and then collapsing the sides.
It's brilliant strategy. So the Romans lose this battle, right?
Oh yeah,
Just
but
to clarify, just for our
yeah,
audience, all of that.
yeah. The Romans lose. Eventually, Hannibal has to go home. He can't. He doesn't get a chance to sack Rome, and there ends up being trouble at home that he has to go back and like save Carthage from another Roman force that ended up going to Africa. But again, the strategy is it's still taught today on how to like sucker troops into. I mean, we don't fight like this anymore, but
Well, even if it's not military, you could be playing a game of chess, and yeah, you can bait your opponent into advancing too quickly, or making a mistake offensively,
Yeah.
and then you can capitalize on it.
But like as soon as the line started to give, he pulls the backup from the left and the right and puts them into the middle.
Yeah, so you're kind of sandwiching them essentially, like they're trapped in on
Yeah, so,
essentially
yeah,
three
so you took
sides.
the guys that were back, that the second and third row of men on the far left and far right waiting to get into the battle.
Yeah,
You move them kind of back and then down, almost like an upside down J.
yeah. Or I was gonna say, if this
Or
line gets pushed
through the
up,
middle.
it would kind of just bend around, to where this line is now more on a slant. You know.
Yeah, because the field is so wide that you don't know if you're in the middle, that you don't know that the whole line isn't breaking. You
Right.
know what I mean? You
Yeah,
don't
because
know
you can
what's
only see
going
what you can
on.
see.
You don't know what's going on anywhere else.
Yeah.
All you can see is right in front of you.
Yeah. That's wild, man.
Yeah.
And
So
anybody who might not know this, but yeah, somebody cavalry, for example, is, even if you have not as much cavalry as you have infantry. Cavalry means somebody on horseback, somebody, a mounted accompaniment of soldiers, whether they're on horses or elephants or whatever. Um but if you're in a mounted cavalry, you can essentially just run over infantry people, quite literally, to some extent.
See? Every Scot with a horse is fleeing. Our cavalry will ride them down like grass. Send a horse. Full attack.
and I think that's all I really have for today.
All right.
My little battle of it's pronounced Cannae.
Can
I always thought it was
Second Punic
Cannae, but it's
War.
Cannae, because I watched a video of it.
Well, it's
Um,
fascinating. I love this stuff.
Well, what got me is I found a YouTube page and they use Unreal Engine 5,
Yeah.
which is, I don't know, you probably know more about that than I do.
Yeah, it's a gaming engine.
Okay. So they can put in all this data that they have, the terrain and the soldiers and blah blah blah, and they can like rework the battles.
Simulate the battle. Yeah.
Yeah, and try to figure out. They do it for all kinds of battles.
Yeah. Super cool.
Yeah, it's wild, right?
Yeah, it is. I see this came from the Encyclopedia Britannica. Interesting. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, if that's I don't have anything else today.
Let me see if I got anything else on here. I have a link for you to add about the Chinese ports. It was a $1.3 billion port, by the way, in Peru. That's how much
Wow.
it cost to build.
Send it to me. I'll put it in the description if anybody wants to do some further research on that port, or just get further information. Excuse me.
I got a fun fact for you. So at the end of World War I, when Russia pulled out because they had their own civil war going on,
Mm-hmm.
there started to be a famine in Russia. And at the beginning of the Russian Civil War in 1918, 1919, there were 1 million goats. By the end of the war, there were 6,000 goats. Sons
Why?
of bitches.
Why'd all the goats die?
Because they need food, bro.
Oh, duh.
Famine. There was no fucking food getting
I
in.
slap myself.
There's a great YouTube page called it's called The Great War, and it's all ex professors or current professors and historians and yada yada yada. But they have every single battle. They even go through like every day of the war on some of these videos, and but it's not just like the World War One. Like, so when World War One ends, they do a lot of like what happened in Russia, what happened in Siberia, what happened here, what happened there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they keep going and get into to a lot of detail about the First World War, which
That's
I find
interesting.
really interesting lately.
Yeah, it is. Definitely is.
And and the Chinese are trying to build the highest bridge in the world.
Really?
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
I've seen some of the stuff that is in China, like a lot of these like landscape things. Like, you know, there'll be like a glass bridge just built on a random mountain that extends and gives you like this great vantage point.
Yeah, I've seen those.
It's super cool. I don't know if we have anything like that here in the States. The only thing that comes to mind would be like the Grand Canyon. You know how they have like the glass
Oh
walk,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know. But what China's doing is like way beyond that.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty wild.
Maybe next time I'll bring up the bridge, but the bridge is nuts. And I saw an interesting thing. So there's this clock tower looking huge building in Saudi Arabia, and it's in Mecca. So it's but I mean, you gotta see the thing's fucking huge. It's a fucking huge building with a big ass clock tower on it, and the engineers who weren't from Saudi Arabia, a bunch of them had to become Muslims because you can't be in the city. So they couldn't even work on their own bridge without, I mean, their own. You looking it up?
Yeah,
You look up clock tower building in Mecca.
I think I have it. I have some images of it. This one?
Yeah.
See this? Oh, God. This thing. Yeah, that is.
Yeah. So look how big that thing is.
That is big.
Now Google, see if you can see a size comparison. Put like that in bright compared to Empire State Building or something. Yeah, okay, that's a good one right there. Click on that.
See if it opens it. Sometimes when you click on it, it takes you to a different website, which looks like what it's doing.
Well, go back.
Hang on. So stupid. Where did it go?
Scroll down. So look on the left is I can't read them. You got to read them.
That's okay. I'm gonna.
But like,
I'll add it in later, and I'll overlay it over the top of the video.
Right, like in the middle is the Sears Tower, right?
This is One World Trade Center.
Oh, okay, that's the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
But look how big that thing is compared. Look how wide it is.
Yeah. It's with the steeple and everything. It's taller than the World Trade Center.
Yeah, but again, look how fucking wide it is.
Oh yeah, I know. That thing is just huge. That's incredible.
I mean, that you can put that in any city, and it would just dominate the landscape.
I mean, that's incredible. Look at that thing.
The
It
Middle
almost
East-
looks like multiple buildings, like in one.
They build some crazy shit over in the Middle East.
Oh yeah, have you seen Abu Dhabi? I mean, it's like Vegas but on steroids.
Yeah, have you seen any like
Or no, Dubai. I'm sorry, Dubai.
Yeah, Dubai.
Sorry.
Have you seen any of the those like resorts they tried to make in the ocean that have like look like a palm tree or like and stuff?
Yeah, they failed, but yeah, it was a good idea. But they're all sinking apparently now.
Oh, speaking of sinking islands, in the one of China's biggest things that they like to do is build islands in the middle of the ocean to claim territory, so they can claim the rights to the resources.
Yes, I've heard
And they
this.
built and they've built airports and stuff on some of these islands.
Hmm.
A handful of them are sinking.
Sounds like an engineering problem.
Well, I mean, how easy can it be to build an island in the middle of the ocean and then put an airport on top of it?
I don't know. I'm not an engineer.
But I found it interesting that some of them are starting to go under.
Yeah, it sounds like what's happening to those same islands in Dubai. Yeah, they just I don't know if
No,
it's a
these are much
planning.
bigger than those things in Dubai are like they're small.
Yeah, but they are sinking because apparently they didn't build them properly. They
Yeah,
they
it has
weren't even able to sell most of them.
Yeah, but there's not just like there's like 3 or 4 different developments.
If I recall correctly, like it's like the continents of the world.
Oh, and there's one that's one of them, and then one looks like a pine, like a tree.
Yeah, you're right. One does look like a palm tree. Yeah, you're right. They
Yeah.
have a bunch of them. And
Yeah,
yeah,
they
it's not like it's one house per island. Like they have lots of homes on these particular islands. It's not like you get your own island.
Well,
At
some
least
of
in the
them
ones
are.
I saw.
Some of them are small enough for like one house and your yard. And the point is, instead of being like in an old folks community where people drive golf carts, you all have like little boats.
Yeah. Which is cool. I think it's a good idea. It's obviously just only marketed to super rich people. We couldn't afford one. But even if you can afford one, don't buy one because they're sinking. So don't.
Yeah,
do
what the
those.
hell are you gonna do in Dubai anyway?
I don't know. I don't know. They got some bizarre rules over there too, at least compared to what we're used to. So probably wouldn't do well over in Dubai.
All right. Well,
Couldn't
besides
afford to
that,
live in Dubai.
I'm out of shit.
All right.
Well, thank you everybody for watching. If you're still here, hit the like button if you made it this far. Share us with your friends. Hit that little share button that's under us, and then share it to all your social media. And if your friends want to come and make fun of us, that's fine because your friends are fucking stupid anyway. But that's it. So everyone, have a lovely evening. I'm out.
Thank you all for watching.
I knew a man who once said death smiles at us all. All a man can do is smile back.